we're about to listen to another A-list panel. The crux of this year's summit is the word trust, which is an asset. And now this panel will be on trade marketing and brand development. And trade marketing is big business. Brand development is big business. And so we'll be speaking with three people who know and who should know. One of them is the CEO of GDM. The other is the general manager of Brian Monroe Limited. And the third is the sales director at Reckitt. All of them are already around, ready to spar and to share from their wealth of experience of about 100 years. I kindly request that we sit. We acknowledge all our partners and sponsors. Ensure that you buy some of their products. I'm inviting the founder and CEO of GDM Group and Hazen Holdings. Is he here? He builds scalable business systems and innovation platforms across corporate and startup ecosystems. He's the brain behind the marketing hackathon, and he has supported startup incubation, acceleration, funding access, and market readiness across Africa through the Eco Innovation Center. I'm talking about Victor Afolabi. If we have Victor Afolabi here, he can start to come now. And we have somebody with a rich legal background, corporate governance professional and compliance executive with almost 2 decades of experience advising multinationals and publicly listed organizations across the FMCG, the automotive, the healthcare and technology and manufacturing sectors. She's currently Company Secretary and General Counsel at CAPL, where she's providing strategic leadership in corporate governance, regulatory compliance, risk management, and board effectiveness. Ladies and gentlemen, her name is Aramide Onwoke Diuku. Aramide is pronounced Aramide, but you can simply call it Aramide. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Aramide Onwoke Diuku. And the next panelist operates within Reckitt Sub-Saharan Africa's commercial structure. He leads field sales and trade execution initiatives focused on expanding product availability, strengthening retail presence, and improving last-mile distribution across modern trade. He's contributed to trade marketing and brand activation initiatives, including cross-sector partnerships, such as the Morton ShopRite collaboration, aimed at improving product reach across Nigeria's retail ecosystem. Ladies and gentlemen, Sales Director Reckitt, Victor Balogun. Do we have the Victor Balogun here? Mr. Victor Balogun, your time starts now to get on the stage. You have 10 seconds, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Please be seated. So we have seated already Aramide and Victor. So it's going to be a victorious session. Do we have Victor Afolabi here yet? If not, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome the moderator of the panel. She's a biscuit veteran, a marketing professional. The first time I met her, she gave me biscuits. The second time I met her, she gave me biscuits. The third time I met her, she gave me a carton of biscuits. The fourth time I met her, she gave me a truckload of biscuits. And the last time I met her, she gave me a container load of biscuits. I know that as she leaves today, I'll be leaving with container loads of biscuits. I'll have enough biscuits from now till the end of the year. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Tola Elatui will be moderating this session. And so take note of her because everybody's going to get some free biscuits in their dreams as they go home. I will get my biscuits physically. All right. So Mr. Victor Afolabi would likely join us later. Is he here now? Thank you very much. Let the panel begin. You have 25 minutes for this, is it? Yeah. Audience, please pay attention so that you'd be able to ask the questions when the time comes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right, everyone, good afternoon, and it is nice to be here with you all. Welcome back. And this is going to be the most interesting panel session you will witness. Mark my words. Why? Because I have this wonderful lady and this wonderful woman. In fact, Victor and I have worked together in my previous employment. Aramide is a sweetheart. She's also had a years of experience, but over the years, we've connected at different conferences. And I can tell you that both of them are fire, right? We don't even need a third person. So please be prepared to be wowed by them, because I am already wowed having to moderate the session. Now, our session is about trust at the shelf, right? A bit of preamble. A lot of us buy things, we think it's about the price, we think it's about the quality, we think that is the reason why we're buying. But in our subconscious, trust is always there. We buy some brands because we trust them, right? It's not written anywhere. We fail to acknowledge it, but sometimes trust is the reason why we buy those brands. So Victor here and Aramide are going to do justice to how we achieve trust at the shelf, because building brand credibility through engagement is absolutely very, very important. So I would like to ask a general question to both of you, right? We're looking at trade marketing, all the initiatives we do in the trade, and how do they even become measurable commercial outcomes? Now, we're not asking for KPIs here, just from your wealth of experience, right? We do a lot of trade marketing initiatives. And Victor, I'd like to start from you, because you are at the heart of sales, right? I'd like to start from you. How do we ensure that all of these trade marketing initiatives, because we're talking the shelf, before we come to the trust, let's talk about the shelf itself. We're talking brands at the shelf. How do we ensure that all of those trade marketing initiatives translate into commercial outcomes?
Excellent. Thank you so much, Tola. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you here.
And thanks to the organizers for inviting me and everyone here. Thank you so much for coming. I think if you look at trade marketing, like you said, I believe every one of us here know that trade marketing it sits right at the middle of the execution and the strategy, right? But what trade marketing seeks to drive is behavior. It seeks to drive behavioral change, right from our channel partners, the distributors, right? Is anything changing in the outcome of what we are doing? So let's leave the activities, because we measure the activities a lot. Like you said, let's leave the KPIs, right? So we measure the activities a lot. Have I done this? Is this branding, merchandising tool outside? Is a promo hub? But then the behavior we are seeking to change, right from the distributor. Are we getting more coverage, for example? Is the rep doing a better job at execution? Then the retailer. Is the retailer giving an incremental shelf space? Is the retailer asking for more assortment? Is the retailer selling faster? Is the retailer profitability increasing? So those are things that trade marketing should measure beyond the activity itself. So the behavior we are trying to see. So therefore, the retailer is asking me for more, right? Because something is happening in the store. Then when you go to the shopper also, are they picking more? How is my shelf? So basically, those are things that we should measure. Then those are the real commercial outcomes that we should measure. If I take, the best way to know is what is the retailer saying? They are like a scorecard to us, right? So it's good to say, I've done this, I've done that. But what is the retailer saying? Is it saying that whatever you have done has really, really helped this business? So I think from that, because if the retailer is happy, your distributor will be happy. Your distributor is doing well.
Correct.
Then it flows into your brand.
Absolutely.
Right? So your brand will also do well. So I think from that, just to keep it short and simple a little bit, let's look at the behavior we are trying to drive.
Right.
Are those behaviors, are they happening? Are we seeing some changes.
Thank
in
you
those
very much,
behaviors.
Victor. So Victor has told us the idea really behind every trade marketing initiative is the behavior change. What behavior are you trying to drive? And once you know that behavior, you can then set up your KPIs. Aramide, what is your perspective to this?
Is it morning? Yes. Good morning. Well, maybe afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you, Dr. Sola, for inviting me, and thank you to everyone. How I think about it is slightly different, and I'll start with, there's a funny saying that we say in CAP all the time. When we talk about activities, and the common excuse or the common ground is, oh no, we are building brand equity. And what we say is, you can only build brand equity for a company that is still in business.
Correct.
You cannot build brand equity for a company that is about to go under, or for a company that is dead.
True.
And whilst brand equity is an asset, a very key one at that matter, cash flow itself is oxygen. And without that oxygen, everything else is secondary. Everything else, without oxygen, will die. So our own approach at CAP PLC is, rather than measure activity, or rather than, as we go into every year and we say, rather than say, oh, I want to do painter engagement schemes. No, it's, I want to have this outcome. I want increase in revenue from my stores. I want more painters buying my, so we start from the commercial objective, then work backwards towards the activity, and that's really how we do it. So for every campaign, and I'm a big believer in, for every penny I spend, I must know what I'm getting in return. So today we have painter loyalty programs where painters walk into our stores, they buy paint, and they get points. And we had run it because, yes, I can talk about these principles, but I should also come here and share how we've made mistakes, right?
Correct.
We had run it for about 3-4 months, and then we did a postmortem. And we saw that was the scheme itself, was it rewarding painters for behavior they would normally do? Meaning that they would normally go into our paint shop and buy a Dulux paint or a Santex paint or a Caplux surface prep, or were we actually incentivizing them to buy more? And we saw that by our scheme, we were not getting any incremental value. And that essentially means that if I'm spending 10 naira on my scheme, and without running the scheme, I was already making 1 million in revenue. By the time I decide that I want to spend another X or another 10 naira or 20 naira on my scheme, I must let that incremental revenue on top.
Otherwise, why are you spending?
Yes, what am I spending? And because of that, we had to stop the scheme in between, and we had to rejiggle the model to ensure that our ROI was positive. And I think that has to be every executive's mindset. Is what exactly is the top line? What is it bringing to the business? If it's not bringing anything to the business, it's activity, it's smoke. And that is where we start from. So a key thing is, as you start to plan, is planning your commercial outcome, working back towards your activity, sitting down. I will not run a campaign or start anything without signing off for my FP&A team and finance team to say these projections you've made, they are actually achievable. I will not sit within the 4 walls. And marketing, being in marketing, you also get tempted because the sales team, they are quick to move. They want it now. They say, marketing, you are delaying, we need to move. But marketing now has to take that step back to say, yes, we are launching this, but what exactly is the top line? What's the incremental value? And I think with that mindset, you start to approach all activities based on what's in it, what's the incremental value that this campaign or activity will bring to the company.
Thank you very much, Aramide. And I think both of you are really in sync, yeah? Because Victor talked about the behavior, you talked about the outcome. A behavior can only lead to something, right? And that is the expected outcome, right? And when you're talking about the outcome, we're talking about what is in it for the retailer, what is in it for the consumer, or the person who actually shops. Is the shopper we're interested in there, if it's trade marketing. So thank you very much. Aramide, I'd like you to spend a little bit more time on my next question, and I think it's a privilege that both of you are from the industries are different, right? You are coming from an industry where recommendations lead the game. Victor is in the industry where it's a household and believability leads the game there. So I think it's a privilege that we have two different people from two different segments. So Aramide, my next question to you. You are in the paint business, and in your industry, right? The consumer rarely buys the product alone. It's not only about the product. They buy the name, they buy the recommendation, they buy the trust, they buy the outcome, they buy everything else there is to buy, right? And they rely heavily on the recommendation of a local painter, yes, or a trusted trade partner. Now, in this kind of fragmented market, how do you build a strong community of trust with these trade partners so that they confidently advocate for your brands at the shelf?
Thank you very much, Dr. Salah. And maybe I'll answer this by just taking a poll around the room.
That's fine.
How many of you, or raise up your hands, if you know the paint that was used to paint your house?
So how many of us know the paints that was used to paint our house?
I want this paint, please raise up. I can't see hands. Raise up your hands.
Raise up your hands very well if you know the paints that was used to paint your house.
Oh, wow.
We have a few hands. Oh, really?
So this
they're
is
educated.
Really
they are informed.
It's just a few hands in the room. And essentially, this just goes to show that in our own business, trust by our key stakeholders is everything. Because we've seen that a good 70% of Nigerians don't know the paints that's used to paint their houses. They rely on the decisions of their painters, after their painters, their interior decorators, or for those who walk into the market, the trade sellers, the trade dealers, or the distributors. Correct. So today, when I'm about to launch any product, before we launch, as we're even thinking about it, the first set of people I draw into the room, they are my painters.
They are your stakeholders.
They are my number one stakeholder is my painters. We cannot, absolutely not, release any product, do anything without majority, at least the buy-in of the majority, or even to hear their thoughts, because they are key. They're the ones who bring life to the products we manufacture. And this is why a lot of our initiatives are really geared towards improving the lives of our painters so that it doesn't look like such a transactional relationship. We have our loyalty schemes where painters walk in, they accrue points, and then beyond even earning cash, we also sponsor them. They get to see our trademarks, our trade partners abroad and whatnot. We have our training programs where they're training schools. We take painters to because it's not enough for painters to actually love your brand. They must actually know how to use it, because even the best paints with the wrong painter would fail on the wall. So we train painters on how to use our brands. But beyond that, one of the key things we also launched last year was also a business academy for painters. So it's not just you coming to learn about our paints, but you're also teaching you how to improve yourself. How do you set up a business, personal branding, how do you protect your IP, and all of that. We're invested in them because they are really an extension of our brands. Correct. And we try to cascade that throughout the value chain, so not just the painters, but the interior decorators as well, and our distributors through all sorts of schemes that we have in place for our distributors. Because these people, this ecosystem, they're really an extension of our brand, and they're the people that bring our brands to life.
Thank you very much, Aramide. I think she deserves a round of applause. And Aramide, now that I think you should charge the room for them to start asking what paints do they use to paint their houses. I think you should give that.
I don't want to put them on the spot.
Nice. Victor, I would like to come to you now. So we are still building on trust, right? And how do the ecosystem itself, the retail trade and all of that, how does it happen with you, essentially, who is in health? You're managing health, you're managing hygiene and home products. When we want to buy something relating to health especially, trust is so critical, trust is so essential. Because I mean, this is about life, right? I'm putting my money where I'm sure that the health, the pharmaceutical space is one that I can trust for authenticity and, you know, a solution. A reliable solution. So from her point of view, she's looking at the trust to say, recommend, I want to be your, when you need to make a choice, make me that choice. But for you, it's different because it's a reliable solution I'm looking for. For you, it's different because we're talking health. For you, it's different because it's a solution, it's home, and all of that. How does an aggressive trade engagement strategy translate into brand credibility directly at the retail shelf?
Aggressive trade execution strategy.
Maybe I'm just a bit looking for something different.
Okay, so I think that aggressive, perhaps I change it to maybe a consistent
That's fine.
Strategy.
I like that too.
A predictable strategy,
Correct.
right? How does it lead to trust at the retail shelf? Like you said, I think I work in the OTC space, hygiene, home, and health. So there are a few things on the shelf that are critical. For example, when you talk about availability of the products on the shelf, so sometimes it's not a sales thing, it's a trust thing. But I will not even start from the shelf itself. I will start from the entire value chain, right from the distributor. Because trade engagement strategy is both for the distributor, the middle chain, and of course, you are going to the retailer, and of course, the shopper. If I look at the distributor today, there are certain trade engagement things that we do with them. For example, we do a whole lot of transformation. I've had opportunity to do a couple of that in the past, where you just suddenly figure out in your head that, okay, based on data, I should cover this level of outlets. And then you put the distributor to work. Sometimes they have to get infrastructure, they have to do this, you try to align them and all that. But there are a few things we need to take care of. The economics of the distributor itself, their financials. You need to look at the ROI. The concept of, are we effective, are we efficient? Not just covering the last mile. You know, we talk about the last mile a lot. But the first mile itself, is not to cover all the stores, correct? Are we covering the stores profitably? I did something in the past, not in Nigeria though, where I discovered that almost 70% of the so-called coverage we have, they are contributing this much, right? And then you allow the distributor to burn the fuel, to burn the cash, to do all that. So that's the first level of trust, where you ensure the economics of the distributor is also making sense, right? Sometimes if you want to do those kind of aggressive, I said consistent trade engagement stuff, then perhaps you might do some kind of guarantee for them in terms of return. What level of ROI do you then need to guarantee for them? Then they trust you. They know you have their back.
I like the way you put the growing me, growing you.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like your organization is self-centered. It looks like you have the interests of your stakeholder at heart. Yeah.
Excellent. In fact, the cheap way to know is to check if you have been around for some time, the number of years that your distributors have been with you. So if you begin to have 1 year, 1.5 years, and you have been in the business for 10 years, then you need to check. So your distributors should be people who should believe in you and spend decades with you. So that's one metric you can use to check. Are you doing the right thing with them? Then when you leave the distributors level, you take care of the economics, you drive the right behavior with them, then you go into the middle chain. Those ones are ruthless, right? They are just after the profit. They not just the profit, they're after certain things. I think it's to understand the buyer, their psychology. They want faster rotation, for example. They want better margin. They want profitability. Are we able to do that? Or what you are doing is just loading the trade in the language we use, right? So are they
You
selling
know,
out?
that also makes them very unhappy.
Fantastic. You know, they just keep, and you're tying down working capital,
Yes,
right?
correct.
So what are you doing to quickly accelerate whatever it is that they are doing? So when you begin to do things that they see is opening up the channel for them, they begin to build trust with you.
Correct.
So when it flows from the distributor, having the trust, it flows down the channel, then on the shelf, it's easier, right? So when you are now on the shelf, it's easy to drive whatever you need to drive. But of course, the shopper, what they are looking for is that if I come for this product, will I consistently find it on the shelf? Right? If I mention one of my products, like Gaviscon, will I consistently find it? I'm used to it. It works for my heartburn, it works for my indigestion. Will I consistently
So
find
you
it?
just carry style, advertise your products
No.
like that.
Okay. So the point is, it's beyond availability when it comes to those kind of brands.
I agree.
It's a trust.
It's a trust.
You know, just to use an example, not even, CPG, we're buying vehicles for our team to use in trade. Good vehicles, very good vehicles, right? And we said, okay, let's buy all these vehicles. But the challenge is, at the time we want to service those vehicles, we could not even find the parts.
That's another
We could
one.
not find the parts.
Yeah.
So the trust bit, right? It's already eroding because the availability was not there.
Availability.
So if I go back to the shelf, I just use that as an example. If I go back to the shelf, is it placed rightly? Is it in the right format? Is it well represented? Can I always find it on the shelf? And then the consumer will begin to interact with it. Is it at the right quality? Then you build the trust is not just on the shelf.
Yes.
You build it, it flows down right from the top of the chain, and it flows down to the final shopper.
Thank you very much, Victor. You know, I'm pretty much excited about this conversation. And, you know, mainly because from the consumer point of view where I sit, the shopper marketing side, when you talk about trust, everybody looks at the person who is consuming, right? But from the trade itself, trust can also be built, and I kind of like the way that you've talked about it from the ecosystem of the value chain itself, ecosystem of trade marketing, right? And pretty much both of you have done justice to it. Before we go to the audience questions, I'd like to ask one more question to both of you. Now, from the consumer point of view, right? How do you ensure that you get picked off the shelf? You want to be the choice, the consumer choice. Because the rubber really hits the road, right? The moment the consumer picks your product out of all the alternatives that they have. How do you make sure that you are that choice? And now we're talking about the brand itself. We've talked about the ecosystem. We've talked about the trade marketing and the input and the output. The brand itself, how do you then build trust at the shelf?
Okay, so fine. I think that is the real meat, right?
The money comes from there.
You know, sometimes you have the mental availability. Oh, I'm going to buy this. Then they get into the store and they change their mind.
Correct.
So the concept of the 3 feet close to the shelf.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the 3 feet? I mean, we need to get educated. Victor, this is 20 years of trade marketing. Victor,
Okay.
please educate us.
Okay, so it's very simple. We look at the last mile
Correct.
a lot. That's what we drive the sales team to do, distributor teams to do. But there's a concept of the first mile also, right?
Okay.
The concept of how a perfect store should look, what kind of picture of success should look. Everything is driving towards, by the time you get close to the shelf, 3 feet from the shelf, I want to win 3 feet from the shelf. So if you think back, that what will make somebody to near the category where you have competing brands, and then you have your own, and then just 3 feet to picking a share, they change their mind and they pick your own. Or, marketing has done a very good job. They are coming to the store to pick the shelf, to pick the product, and they get to the shelf, just 3 feet, they pick your own,
So
or they
you
change.
told Aramide she's doing very good job with the mental availability. So take your flowers. The mental availability is being built.
So the conversion really
Yeah.
happens there. That's what trade marketing does.
Correct.
So there are a few things. Sometimes we think it's only pricing. Pricing is one of it. So there's the concept of how do people perceive value, which you can do above the line. Then, of course,
yeah.
When you also get into the store, how do people perceive value? The first thing is that you have to be available, right? Before
Correct.
they can even pick
That's
you.
the first
Because
thing.
you have to be available.
Yeah.
Then how are you presented? How's your product standing out and looking on the shelf? How is the product? The quality of the product, the visibility you are commanding, or the visibility on the shelf. So those are some of the things that drive that level of conversion, right? But the real job is that conversion within 3 feet.
Within the 3 feet.
Within
yes.
the 3 feet. So that's why you find, every company tries to look so good on the shelf. They are trying to tell people, I'm the premium, I'm the best, come to me, right? But of course, someone can look at his pocket and say, so is now that concept of value, what are they perceiving as value, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so, because you could have a bouquet of flower, okay, is 5 naira, somebody else 50,000, they still prefer the 50,000. So what are you able to do on the shelf, right from the mental availability, that you are communicating consistently online, offline, in-store, everywhere, that will make the person to say, okay, this is consistent execution, and of course, the
Thank
conversion
you very
happens.
much. Thank you very much, Victor. Aramide nail it on the head.
Okay, thank you. And I like that he started because he is speaking from a different perspective than I will speak. So we sell Dulux, Santex, Caplux brand of paints. Our paint products are not found on the shelves, so we're not particularly competing with different other paint products in the same space. Now, what we try to do, because all our products are sold through authorized color centers or color shops or outlets, what we do is one, and maybe let me start with a bit of data, so please permit me. I was at a top trends organized by Media Reach in January, and they had launched out a consumer survey, and one of the results was, what are consumers most loyal to? Is it the brand, or is it the people behind the brand, meaning the sales team? And almost everyone in the room missed it because the answer was the sales team. Meaning that if me or you here, you market this product, the minute you jump and you have your loyal customers, the minute you move to another brand, they will move with you because they are loyal to you, because they trust you. And that's one of the things we've now built in terms of our people. People, the right people are your greatest assets. So as a company, we've invested a lot in our sales team, a lot in everyone working at CAP, so that we have happy team members, motivated team members, passionate team members that are speaking for the brand, because then they get to keep their customers with them. So that was strategy one. Strategy two was also ensuring that we also resonate with our customers. And how? Now, Dulux has been the #1 paint brand for over 6 decades. That's almost the age of Nigeria. And I say that it's not coincidence, it's due to intentional steps. Dulux has been a premium brand for the longest time ever. But in response to consumer shifts, we all see that consumers are downtrading. And we all see that today, most people that know the Dulux brand is because maybe their grandfather used it, their great-grandfather used it. They know it as the #1 brand, but there is not that emotional connection. So this year, to ensure that we built that strong emotional connection to the brand, because beyond quality, and quality is extremely important, we also found through the survey that customers want a story. They want a story behind a brand. They just don't want to walk to a shelf and buy something. They want to know, what does this brand stand for? What does this brand believe in? And one of the things we did this year was to launch a mid-tier product called Spruce. One, so that we could connect to young, upwardly mobile professionals and remind them that Dulux is #1 in the market and there's a Dulux for you. In launching Spruce, we launched Spruce through a Show Your True Colors campaign, where we gave our colors names like Body Pink, Odogu Red, Soft Life Blue. And it's not that we wanted to just throw out fancy names. We wanted to form that emotional connection with the mid-tier segments. So that when you hear Dulux, beyond paints, you're thinking, oh, I'm a soft life blue. I'm an Odogu red. We wanted to form that emotional connection. Because today, it goes beyond quality. Yes, we have good quality, but there are other brands that have good quality. So what's that competitive advantage? So that the two examples, through trust, through building the right set of teams that can bring in your customers, ring-fence your customers, and ensure your customers stay loyal to you, and putting out initiatives that strike an emotional connection with your consumers. I always say that today, I don't take Milo, but there's something about when I hear that Milo clap. You know, it takes me back to some time, and it strikes this thing within me that my kids, that's what they drink at home, because I don't drink it, but when I think about Milo, I think about my childhood. And I feel that emotional connection to it. And there are many brands like that. And I'm not advocating for Milo, FY, let me throw that. But I'm just saying that there are many brands like that that I feel that emotional connection to. And I've also passed it along to my children as well.
Thank you very much, Aramide. And I'm sure that that brand will be grateful for the, the free mentions you gave them. Okay. They've shared from the different perspectives and the different sectors in which they've worked with. We've talked about the shopper marketing strategy itself. We've talked about the retail. We've talked about what is important to the retailer, what is important in the value chain, and how do I build trust. First, I want to be available, because if marketing is building mental availability, how is the trade marketing team building physical availability? How does the retailer trust me? How do I generate that trust so that repeatable purchase can happen? How do I accelerate in such a way that they also derive offtake and value, because at the apex of their own triangle, there's profits that they're looking for. Yes, quality is there, but how do you get to pick me off the shelf? How do I lean into your touch points? How do I lean into the things that you know? Let's call it culture, which is the general term for it, which is also trying to explain. Overall, we're saying trust is not only built with the consumer space in terms of mental availability, trust can also be built from the trade marketing point of view, which is what you have on the shelf, right? So thank you very much. I would like to go into the audience questions now. If we look behind us, there are 3 questions that are here. And the 3 questions, we have 53% being the highest, wanting the panel to please explain what trade engagement strategy has been most effective in turning retail partners into trusted brand advocates. I think this was our very, very first question, actually. And if you ask me, I would say there's no most effective. This is very dependent on the business that you run. It's dependent on the problem you're trying to solve. It's dependent on the partners that you have, because not one strategy fits all. You've got to be able to align it with the objectives of the organization, your trade marketing objective. What problem are you trying to solve? What is the trade challenge that you have, and what problem you're trying to solve? But if you, I would really, really want them to answer the one that has got 28%. But if you don't mind, because the audience has asked, can you please, in like 1 minute, can you say something about the 53% question asked? What trade engagement strategy has been most effective in turning retail partners into trusted brand advocates? That was our first question.
I mean, I will take this to Victor, because, you know, Victor mentioned it. It's talking about the partnership. We are both invested in this. So please, Victor.
Yeah, I think trade engagement strategies that are the most effective. I think we've mentioned
You can just
couple of it, or just, you know, skim around it. Like Tola said, there's no one specific that is the biggest, depending on what you are trying to achieve. There are times that what you are trying to achieve is more distribution, more coverage. There are times that you want a better store, right? There are times that, there are times acceleration of take. So depending on where you are, what the issue is, right? Because the people you are, the retailer or the distributor or like I was explaining earlier, they have different pain points at different times.
Correct.
So if you are addressing those pain points, then you build trust with them.
Thank you very much. So thank you very much. Can we please give a clap for Victor? And the one important thing I would like you to take from here is find the pain points. When you address the pain points, you will be able to solve this problem. Thank you very much, Victor. Now, let's go to the question that has got 28%. What capabilities must organizations build today to remain competitive in tomorrow's fragmented marketplace?
Data, data, data. I say that's for us, it's data is king. I left the office, when I left the office this morning, and I'm still going back, we were all running and we're in an AI training because the world, the consumer minds are shifting and not just even on a year to day. So you can't even have a year strategy anymore because consumer minds, consumer perspectives are shifting. So for us is from my own perspective, the most important strategy, or what was the question? The most important capability is just having data-driven decisions. And one of the ways to have data-driven decisions is really to ensure that when it comes to AI, every organization must fully key into AI, because it's one thing to have agencies running research for you, coming up with reports, but they are not in your business like you are in. They are not able to react, and there's so many things that we can do at the click of your keypad of your laptop or your desktop or what have you. So I think the most important thing today, in today's world, really, is AI and data.
Okay, Victor wants to add to that.
Okay, so just to add to the lovely response from Aramide on data. So is now when we now have the data, then we take it further and then get insight from it, right? So if I suddenly discover there's a whole lot of sales happening in the north, the data is telling me that, then what does that say? So what? Does it mean I should order more, right? Raw materials to produce more? Or there's just a one-off, something is happening. So I think, so moving from the level of data, then we'll go to the insight. What's the story behind that data? So that is extremely important now. That's one. And if I must add a little bit again, I think our industry is a bit different.
That's fine.
I'm in fast-moving consumer goods, so there's speed, right? So that agility, things are happening. How fast am I able to quickly respond? You don't have to wait for quarterly reviews or.
Correct.
So how fast am I able to respond to assortment issues, to pricing issues, to competition issues and all that? So how fast am I able to respond? And of course, we have to keep learning, right? You have to keep learning capability, which we talked about.
Thank you very much. This panel is hot. I told you from the beginning. From the different perspectives in which they take the questions, you will agree with me that they're sharing experiences over things that have been discussed, worked with in their different organizations. So from both of them, we've been able to realize that data is key, data is critical, data is important. Having an analytical mindset over and above the data that we get is so critical. How do you analyze the data? How do you draw insights from the data? How do you make the data work for you? What does this mean for me? Does it mean a pullback? Does it mean an acceleration? From the supply chain point of view, what does it mean? From the trade marketing point of view, what micro-marketing activity can I do? So they're saying, yes, have an analytical mindset. More importantly, be able to analyze the data and draw insights from it. Thank you very much. So which metrics best demonstrates that trade marketing investments are delivering sales growth, retailer loyalty, and brand equity? Same thereabouts. I think we've touched on it. Which metrics, best demonstrate trade marketing investments are delivering sales growth?
I mean, brand equity is your brand health tracker. That if it's the result of your brand health tracker. So you're comparing it. Whenever we run campaigns, and then we ensure that we do a brand health tracker to ensure whether, in terms of top of mind awareness, have we moved up by percentage where we are in terms of brand equity. In terms of retailer loyalty, within CAP, our customer experience team, they run surveys every quarter. So not just with the trade partners, but even with the end consumers. And it's in my KPI, it's in the customer service manager's KPI, it's also in the head of commercial's KPIs. We need to achieve a certain score every quarter. And it goes to things like, have we serviced you both from the trade marketing perspective to even from the brand marketing, to even retail excellence? How do their stores look? Are they getting the paint products the right way? Are they getting enough marketing materials? Do they think that the pricing is right? And then they are all assessed according to these metrics. And the last one, sales growth. Sales growth is the easiest. You've achieved
Victor
50 million is your top line.
Every day is looking at his sales
is your top line.
Dashboard. Is looking at the Salesforce's dashboard every day. So really. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like for you to please give a warm applause for the panelists. I think they've done a really good job. And because the MC is not here, I'm going to take the liberty. This is when we get to take a pause. Please. We will be closing our panel. Mr. Victor, thank you very much.
Thank you.
To think that Victor and I will be on the same stage. Victor and I used to work, we used to work in the same organization. Thank you very much. Aramide, it's nice to be here with you. Thank you very much for honoring the invitation. Oh, and I might ask, I better give me my thing. He says he wants to present for me, so let's hold your phones now. If you want to take a picture of your phones. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very much, our panelists. Thank you, Aramide. So now, how many of us will take note of the brand of paint that is being used to paint our houses? How many of us? Or you don't care, as long as the walls are not dirty? As long as the walls are clean, whether it's CAPL or CAP that is not L. Okay, we are moving on right away. I hope that you're having a good time. Are you having a good time? Are we learning? Are we networking? Are we taking notes? Are we planning our next strategy for our route to market? That's why we are here, and that's why we have come to be a part of this